Hi friends, welcome back to the dating battle. So tonight we have a very special guest. This is my guest for the day. This is Carla, and tonight our topic is why you should never date separated guys or newly divorced guys. So Carla, tell me a little bit about your experience. Have you dated any separated or divorced guys?
So I've dated, not separated guys, I've dated some divorced guys. And there's a lot of things that you need to really take a look at and what they're telling you, especially if they're newly divorced. Because when they're newly divorced, they're still stuck in that divorce phase that they're still emotional. They're going through the whole thing. They're going through the finances of it, if there's kids involved. So usually divorces usually take 2 to 3 years, depending on the finances of the person that's making the money, the breadwinner. So you gotta really listen to what they're telling you, where they're at, because they're emotionally checked out.
Yeah, why do you think they're emotionally checked out?
Because they're just so wrapped up, they're feeling resentful, they're hurt, and they're very sensitive. So the more time they have put into that relationship, into that marriage, they're more hurt about it. And a lot of the times it's been the woman who has left them. They don't want to be in the marriage anymore. And one of the things they say is if they're taking half of their money, and it's all about money. And one of the things they always say, oh, I only date 20-something-year-olds. And I'm like, oh, really? So I'm like talking to men my age, in their like 40s, 50s. And I'm thinking, okay, you date 20-some-year-olds. So like, what do you do with a 20-some-year-old?
Yeah,
so,
what are you talking about?
And I talk to 20-some-year-olds to you and to girls, and I'm like, hey, would you date like a 40 and a 50? And they're like, oh no, that's like so gross, So I think it's this thing that they still got their mojo in, but I think it's because they don't want to commit. They just want to go in and out. So by dating them, when I've dated them, and I tell them my age, they know, like, I'm serious, have a job, I'm a professional, I have my shit together, so they kind of see that if you're too much of a strong woman, they don't like that. So they want somebody who's more submissive, like a yes girl, and I'm not a yes girl. So there's no way. Only to certain things.
As it should be.
Yes.
As it should be.
So, yes. So, yeah. And I've dated a few, and I've been learning. So I had to listen to all those red flags. And when men are telling, I date only 20-something-year-olds, I'm recently separated, or I'm recently divorced, and recently separated, they're still attached.
Yeah.
They're very so attached. So you have to really ask the questions. You got to get into their mindsets psychologically.
Like what kind of questions would you ask?
Questions would be like, like what happened in a relationship.
That's a good one.
Is are you co-parenting with your kids? Where are you? So you want to know. How is it going to be every other weekend? So then you kind of know how are you going to fit into their schedule. That's one of the things. But one thing is I've realized is that it takes them like 3 to 5 years to when they're really looking for somebody serious.
I think that's true. Unless you have 3 to 5 years to date a separated guy or a divorced guy, don't do it.
Yes. And you're going to go through the whole process, and the wife is always going to be there, or even vice versa. So you're going to have to go through that whole roller coaster of co-parenting, going back and forth every other weekend, or if they're like going out of town, they have to step in, or getting the nanny, and then you're like, oh, there's a nanny? So you're thinking they're involved. So once the nanny is, and then you're like, then you gotta ask questions about the nanny, how long the nanny's been around.
Oh,
and then how old is the nanny? Is another
How old is the nanny?
So yes, so true. So you just have to ask a lot of questions these days. You can't just like take it as is. And like I said, the red flags are right there. But stay away from separated and recently divorced, because they are emotionally checked out. They're not looking to commit.
Yeah, I would say that I've dated 2 separated guys, and as soon as they became divorced, they both dumped me.
You say, yeah.
Yeah.
So
And they're just emotionally like convoluted. Like they're not in a clear headspace to start something new, you know?
No, they're not. And I can tell you like one time, and this, I should have ran, and I did tell him this. The first time I met him, he sent me a naked picture of his wife. And I was just
of his wife?
Yes.
Shut the fuck
And then I
up.
said to him, please don't ever send this picture to anybody, because you don't know if I'm a crazy bitch and I can just print it up and put it everywhere. And it's so crazy that he would send me this, and I'm like, he's still emotionally in love with this woman.
That's
you know?
crazy.
So, and then I said, I'm like, I should have ran like Forrest Gump.
Yeah,
Like,
I would have been, I would have cursed him the fuck out.
Yeah. So I gave him that advice. I'm like, don't ever send that picture, because you don't know what I could have done with that picture.
That's true.
And everything. So he doesn't know if I'm like crazy. So he just freely like decided to send me this picture of his naked wife. So I've never had that done.
That's like one of the
true story.
That's one of the craziest stories I've ever heard. I thought I've been through some
And this
crazy
is
stuff.
somebody who's like, you know, prestigious, high profile, you know, has standards, and I'm like, okay. So yeah, I've had that happen to me.
Wow.
So,
How many divorced guys have you gone out with?
I would say 4.
That many?
Yeah.
Why?
4. 4, yeah.
I've done 2 and I would never do
4.
it again.
Then I say to myself, I should have stopped at the 3rd. I should have stopped when he sent me the naked picture.
Yeah, girl. That's running for the exit.
Yeah, so I would always say, you know, I always give people the benefit of the doubt, but I was like, no, I really need to see the red flags. I need to like really stick to the questions I need to ask, and when I'm telling everybody to go through that experience. And I've had where the guy is divorced and he wants to marry me, my friends have heard, and being serious, and then to the next they say, I just want to have a casual relationship. And I'm like, casual relationship? What the hell is a casual relationship? Casual relationship is now to being serious to now having a casual relationship. What is a casual relationship?
I think it's like no strings attached. Like they're not really your boyfriend, but you still do everything that you would do with a boyfriend.
So whatever that means.
That's the new thing.
Very, like, to me, I was like, ugh, he stabbed me in the heart. I'm like, casual. Like, to me, I'm like, what am I? Just sex now? Like, what am I? Like, what is casual? Tell me what it is. From going to getting serious to, like, getting to meet his kids to talking about marriage to, you know, it. And then one day, just going to casual relationship. And I'm like, it's casual. What is that?
Yeah, it's just they want no responsibility. They want to date you. They want to have all the perks.
Yeah.
But none of the responsibility.
Yeah. So.
And this is why I think that pussy power is like a big thing. And we need to, no, seriously, we need to reclaim the power. Like, when did it become dick power? Like, it's always been pussy power.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's what we've forgotten about.
And my guy friends say that to me. They're like,
really?
Carla, you have the power of the pussy. And I'm like, what is that? Tell me. You know? So now I'm starting to understand. You know, I'm newly, you know, separated, getting divorced. So in dating in the past 2.5 years, I've learned a lot, you know, because I was in a relationship for 25 years. And where we didn't have Facebook, we didn't have Instagram, we didn't have a phone, we weren't texting. It was like ding, 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 you know, ring-a-ling-ling, and you talk to the other person, and you're coming to pick me up type of thing, you know? Yeah. So I think probably beepers were around, but, you know, you just got, you know, call me here, you know, little codes that they were, you know, in the beepers back then.
Oh, really?
There were like codes that you can, you know, send messages, and that was it. So, but dating now is just so different.
Well, I want to hear your opinion, like what it's like to be like a divorced person dating. Like, what are you looking for? Are you ready to commit? Or are you just having fun?
Yeah, I feel like I'm healed. So one of the thing is, from meeting the man, they're not healed, they're still hurt. So if you're still going through that, you shouldn't date. Work on yourself. That's number one.
Amen.
Work on yourself, and I did it. I went hiking, I climbed a mountain, I did a 5,500 up in the Catskills.
Yeah.
I took a trip to Hawaii. I have friends that are psychologists, so I seek professional help. I found myself with God, also asking questions to myself, getting closer to Him, finding what I needed. So yeah, I feel that I know where I'm at in my life. It's not perfect, but it is normal, and I have peace.
Nice.
So what I want somebody who's serious, who's willing to commit, who's grounded, who's willing to grow and to evolve.
And who's not broken.
Yeah, not broken. I'm not there to fix you. I'm not there to babysit you.
You're not their mother.
No, I'm not there to do any of that. You know, there's a difference of supporting somebody, and then you support somebody and then they leave you for something better because you were just there, you know, just to lean on, you know, like a pillow. So that leaves a bad taste in you. So that person has to be healed for sure.
Yeah.
But I know what I want in life. I'm looking for somebody who is looking for long term. I come from divorced parents. Both my parents, they were married for 15 years. They got divorced, and now they've been married 35 years happily. So they separately too. Yeah, separately. So they both have been divorced, and they've been with each of their spouses for 35 years.
The same amount of time?
Yeah, just about the same amount of time and everything. And you know, it's been hard for them because I've seen my father go through things. I've seen my mother go through things. Even through the process, they have gone through separation. They have gone through, but they've worked through it, and then they got back. So I think everything in a relationship, it's about compromise. And one thing is about relationships, and no matter what it is, with work, with friends, it's about checking in with the person because it's a give and take. Yeah. And I'm learning not to be a giver. I need to learn to be a little selfish.
Yeah.
And everything.
I think that's my lesson too.
Yeah, and I think we're like natural givers, which is beautiful.
Yeah.
Because it shows the person that you are, is you being genuine, me being genuine.
Yeah.
But we have to have boundaries as well.
Yes. And stick to those boundaries.
And we have to have our standards, and not be weak. Like we need to like really set a high standard for ourselves, not just for the other person. And building a foundation. There's so many layers to it, and I've written it all down. You know, like building a foundation, growing, you know, partnering up, helping one another, supporting each other. You're not going to be on the same page all the time. When you're not on the same page, it's hard. It's where you need to constantly check in for sure.
Yeah.
So, and then sometimes people, I always hear, they're on different paths, but you still have to come back together to check in. It's where that compromise is like, hey, how are you doing? You know, what's going on? You know? And I think that's so important in communication and having that dynamic. Because sometimes people are in relationships, even if you're not separated or divorced, you get kind of like robotic.
And comfortable
with it.
Yeah. So I think our main point is that separated and divorced men just aren't ready to commit. Don't do it to yourself unless you have 3 to 5 years to waste. And know your standards and stick to them. With that, we're going to say goodnight. Thank you for watching. And subscribe and give us a thumbs up.